Thank you very much, and good afternoon to everybody. Thank you for joining us today. As was stated, please, if any questions pop up along the way, put them in the chat, and we'll work on collecting those and answering them at the end of this presentation. We really want to get everyone well informed of the process and ensure you that it is just beginning. No one has been missed out or missed their heightened scrutiny assessment. So we just wanted to make sure to touch base, and before the assessment process really gets underway, get a little better, more familiar, and just get some questions from you all, and hopefully we can compile that. And as Zane said, we'll have a recording and then a question and answer document started in there. So we'll just start here. The heightened scrutiny, some of the preparation and resources, we just wanted to make sure that you all were aware of the different avenues and the different trainings that have gone on. We're working to ensure that all settings are informed and prepared for the process, not only heightened scrutiny, but all around. We've had 2 statewide training tours in 2019. The virtual remediation trainings were held during the summer of 2020. General virtual final rule guidance sessions started earlier in September, and right now we're starting the virtual guidance sessions to be topic informational and a time for provider question and answer. As always, we want to remind you and direct you to the Community Connections ks.org website, which is the centralized source for final rule in Kansas. We've uploaded the remediation and heightened scrutiny PowerPoint presentations and recorded of past trainings on there. So as we continue to do these guidance and trainings, we'll be sure to upload those recordings and presentations for either future reference or for those who could not attend. We also want to remind all of the remediation and heightened scrutiny guidebooks, checklists, frequently asked questions, and the different evidence guidance documents that are on the website, along with the different timelines and any adjustments that have occurred to those. We also want to let you know about the live chat that is staffed by a Community Connections team member from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. As with all the communication that occurs with the Community Connections team, there is a correspondence tracker, not only so we can document and ensure that we show, the communication and what was relayed via that communication, but also collect information for our frequently asked questions documents. The website is also where the heightened scrutiny public comments will be posted. And as discussed later in this presentation, the final summaries will be posted for public comment prior to submission to CMS. This next slide is for compliance tracking for heightened scrutiny in regards to the Community Connections provider dashboard. So all providers or settings have a unique account on the Community Connections website to access and complete the provider self-assessment, work on remediation if necessary, and undergo the heightened scrutiny process if necessary. The provider dashboard is where all remediation and heightened scrutiny correspondence will occur between the state and the provider setting. Providers will utilize the remediation tab on the dashboard to submit their setting remediation plans and upload evidence as they complete remediation activities. As a reminder, at this time, heightened scrutiny category 3 questions can be remediated utilizing the remediation tab on the dashboard and can occur right now. We'll clarify further, but verified category 1 and category 2, which fall under questions C1 and C2, cannot be remediated until an on-site or virtual equivalent assessment has occurred. Providers will utilize the heightened scrutiny tab on the dashboard to work with the heightened scrutiny team to complete their summary after the assessment to gather additional evidence. It'll also be utilized to upload evidence to determine if a setting was miscategorized. So if you don't happen to be in an institution connected to or on the grounds of, we will verify through the heightened scrutiny tab and work with you to ensure that we have the correct designation. The heightened scrutiny tab two-way communication. This is for settings flagged for heightened scrutiny. The tab includes all questions that must be remediated to overcome the presumptions that led to a heightened scrutiny designation. The heightened scrutiny team can communicate with the providers or settings via the heightened scrutiny tab upon logging in to their settings page. This process is utilized to assist in verifying the heightened scrutiny categorizations as well as collecting sufficient information to complete the summary for public comment. So basically, we want to make sure that we collect enough information and documentation that provides the best picture of your setting and how, even though there's presumptions that led to the heightened scrutiny categorization, that you still provide home and community-based services. A little more about the heightened scrutiny virtual assessment process and the team. Along with myself, there are 5 heightened scrutiny team members who will be conducting the assessments. All members are KDAD staff. The heightened scrutiny director will assign 6 settings per team member to begin outreach and scheduling of the virtual assessments. So this process will be another time to allow for providers or settings to ask questions to further prepare. We want to make sure that everyone's ready for the date of the assessment, has the individuals served and staff prepared as well. The state will be utilizing Microsoft Teams for virtual meetings or interviews. For those who do not have Microsoft Teams or Organizational Office 365, you can join a Teams meeting without a 365 account. We will have a link and we'll work with you throughout this time to ensure the virtual capabilities. But we want to make sure that we'll work with any setting to confirm those capabilities and complete the virtual assessment however possible. If you have a Zoom link that you prefer to use from your provider setting or Skype or other equivalent, we just want to make sure that we're able to have the best virtual assessment possible and view the individual and the setting. And by viewing, we're able to, assure that individuals have privacy and are free from coercion during the interviews. The virtual assessment process will include interviews with individuals served, staff, and executive directors. The on-site observation will utilize information gathered from the completed self-assessment, information that we received during interviews and after the virtual assessment, including organizational charts, pictures and virtual observations such as the rooms, common areas, kitchens, event or activity calendars. It could be policies and procedures if they were not included with your self-assessment. Whatever the case, the heightened scrutiny team will review and utilize information gathered to determine if any additional observation and or documentation is necessary. And as we'll continue to reinforce, we just want to ensure that we're not leaving anything out, that we absolutely show a good picture of your setting and how you comply with final settings rule requirements, even though the location of where services are provided may have a presumption go with it. The heightened scrutiny tool that we originally designed for on-site monitoring is the same tool that we'll use for the virtual assessment. It's a block PDF document that will easily be able to update and fill in for the heightened scrutiny team members, and it includes different regulations, cues, and follow-up questions to ensure sufficient information is asked for and provided. We want to make sure that staff, executive directors, and individuals served are aware of the different regulations and rights and why we are here doing what we're doing and the CMS's goal for this whole process. So after the virtual assessment and the summary is completed, the information will be collected by the heightened scrutiny team member and submitted to the director to complete and finalize the summary for each setting that is verified as a Category 1 or Category 2 setting. The tool is designed to transfer into a summary document where the pictures and additional evidence can be added. Pictures, policies, and procedures, and other evidence, as we said, from the self-assessment will be utilized But if we should need any additional information, we will reach out via the two-way communication feature on the settings login page. We're dedicated to working with all willing and able providers to come into compliance and to present a summary that best describes your setting. Just as a constant reminder, all Category 1 and 2 settings that currently do or can comply with the final settings rule requirements will have a summary provided to CMS. As described before, that will include all the pictures and everything to give the snapshot of your setting. And I just want to reiterate that those that do or can comply with our summaries, we can submit the summary with a plan of compliance. So if it's something that may take a little more time, we just want to ensure that we can complete your assessment and summary with the current plan, but that will have to be tracked on the remediation tab until implementation. So that's why when we say those who currently do or can comply, we want to assure you that as we're doing the heightened scrutiny process, we can still complete the summary with plans. All summaries will be posted for public comment on the Community Connections website and via link on the KDAD's website. The team will be working to ensure public comment is advertised and made available for input. As throughout the set phases toward compliance in Kansas, the team has worked to ensure all providers or settings and individuals served are informed, whether that's through the stakeholder calls, tours, the different training and guidance sessions, and the bi-weekly update emails. We also want to ensure that those public comments, if they raise any serious concerns, additional assessment and or action might be necessary to resolve those or revisit the assessment. We spoke a lot about the Category 1 and 2. I just wanted to touch base on Category 3 designations. There are several that are just Category 3, but I understand that several of you on the phone may also be Category 1, 2, and 3, or 1, 2, whatever the combination. I just want to assure that Category 3 settings have until July 1 of 2021 to implement remediation strategies to overcome this designation. If implemented prior to 7/1 of 2021, Category 3 settings will work with the remediation team to track and implement and overcome the presumptions that led to that designation. And that's specific for the Category 3 part of it. If implementation does not occur by the 7/1/2021 date, 7/1/2021 date, Category 3 settings that have not implemented will require additional assessment that will be similar to those that the Category 1 and 2 received. So just for a clarification, if you are any of the combinations that include 1 or 2 and a 3, you may begin and complete remediation for the Category 3 questions, but will require a virtual assessment for questions that triggered Category 1 and or 2 designation. For clarification on that, that is questions C1 and C2 on your self-assessment. And if it's on your heightened scrutiny tab or remediation, C1 or C2 questions cannot be remediated without the heightened scrutiny team doing an assessment. We wanted to touch base on, we conducted a virtual pilot to test out the assessment process now that we are going with the virtual process. It was at a Category 2 residential setting, a group home with 8 individuals on the IDD waiver. We interviewed 1 individual served, 1 staff member, and the executive director. The setting utilized a laptop, which we'd like to say is definitely the gold star. If we could have a laptop with Teams capabilities, that would be the best to provide a full walkthrough of the residents as occurred at this pilot. We were able to conduct the observation section of the assessment in a virtual format, viewing the living space, kitchen, and dining area, ensuring that the setting was accessible for those who resided there. We were also able to see those who were interviewed, creating the personal environment that allows the team to see if questions, might be confusing and or exhausting to the individual served or anyone participating in the interview process. We were able to see some of those cues, and it makes it a little easier to either move on or come back to a question or rephrase it. The individual is also able to complete the interview from the comfort of their own room, free from coercion, and show how they're able to decorate and have privacy. Some of the lessons learned from the virtual pilot process, we want to definitely ensure and establish the technological capabilities of the setting before we even get into the process, to make sure everyone's comfortable and understands what's needed. And just like as discussed prior, we want the best picture, and to be able, when we present these summaries, that we have those assurances that we really did have a good understanding and visual of the setting. We would like all involved to be educated of the process, why we are performing the assessments, and understand the intent. We'd like to ensure that those who we interview and individuals served are educated of the process, and we'll work to accommodate any special needs to complete the interview for those who reside in the settings. All settings that already do or are willing and able to comply with final settings rule requirements, as stated, will have a summary submitted to CMS showing how they do or will comply by the established deadline.